I believe I've got an idea. Hey ho, I'm Rachel, this is Missy, and we're Miss Daisy Sewing. And today it's time to make Missy's annual fancy dress costume. Can you believe it? Fancy dress is probably Missy's best category in the dog show sort of circuit that we do. She's a mixy, we don't know what she is, so she doesn't tend to do so well against a lot of the pedigrees on your prettiest girl and all that kind of stuff. So best rescue, golden oldie and fancy dress are the categories we tend to do best in. And after accusations from my husband of sandbagging one year, it has now become a tradition that each year I make her a new costume. And this year I want to go with something super cute, quite easy, and aesthetically really recognisable. Last year her suit of armour, whilst we got loads of compliments, a lot of people just didn't really read it, so we didn't do very well in that. So we're going back to basics and we're going to do a bumblebee. She's never done wings in a costume, so I am so excited for it. But enough on that. Let's go grab the pieces, shall we? And I'll explain what the plan is. Billy Scratchies first. Billy Scratchies first. Yes. So I've got here all of the parts from Missy's costume. I've got some brown, sort of furry fabric, and I've also got a yellow faux fur as well. In hindsight, I do not need as much as I have purchased, but I use a surprising amount of faux fur, so it will get used on something else. I did decide to keep it easy and buy some wings. Whilst making my own fairy wings is absolutely on the bucket list, for this costume, I'm not worried about it. I'm not sure how Missy's going to react to having wings on her, so in case they get scratched off and stepped on, I don't want to put a lot of time and effort into the wings. However, they're so glittery, so I am so psyched. Can you not tell? Like, I am psyched for this costume. She is going to be so cute. I do want to make some like little diddly boppers. Do they have an actual name? The boppers? Antennae, obviously, but they're not a headband. They're diddly boppers, right? So I want to make her some little antennae to also go with her outfit. I might do a snood with the antennae attached, or I might go more with like a headband. I will come across that when we get there. That is the last part of the costume. The key thing is going to be the stripy jacket and a way that I can attach the wings to her harness. With the jacket, I'm going to use an existing coat of hers that velcros up the back and basically just wholesale steal that design. I'm going to make a lining to start with, which I can then adjust to make sure it fits, and then we'll make the furry sort of overcoat to go around the lining. So yeah, let's get on with it. Next step is to make a pattern of this coat here. As you can see, it's really muddy. This is a very well used coat, and it's that time of the year where it's minging outside. This is a back fastening coat, which is a feature I want to retain, which is why I'm going to make a pattern of this one and not use an existing pattern, because I want to be able to have the wings attached to her harness, and Missy these days is walked on the harness and not collar. But yeah, next step, drafting. For the drafting, I just kept it simple and traced out each different part onto the fabric with the chalk, making sure to retain a little bit of seam allowance. I then traced that first piece so that both of my back pieces would match before tracing out the middle section from the original coat, and then I actually cut this on the fold to ensure that the piece was actually going to be symmetrical. I then stitched it all together because fitting on a dog is much easier when you've got a fabric piece rather than a paper piece. I wasn't happy with the original fitting. It was too long and really quite baggy in the belly, so you can actually see me here ripping apart those original seams. I was much happier with the second fitting, and as you can see, Missy is quite happy to just stand there and let me try these things on her. There's always plenty of biscuits to hand, and she does get rewarded for her good behaviour. Following that, I decided to trace out each of the pattern pieces onto paper. Future me will appreciate that I properly drafted this and I'm not just going to copy the fur off of the other PCs. I knew I wanted really big chunky stripes on this costume. I wanted it to be 4 stripes, maybe 6 stripes at most on the bee outfit, just to make it as ridiculous as possible. So the first step was cutting some big strips of fur. The key thing here is making sure the grain of the fur matches so that all of the fur is going in the same direction across the stripes. To speed things up and to keep it as simple as I could, I did the old quilting trick where I've sewn together those 2 long strips, cut it in half, and then sewn the 2 halves together. By then stacking these, I can very quickly get quite a big piece of fabric made. Once the main piece of fabric was completed, I then traced around those original pattern pieces and cut everything out.
Bumblebee, 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 bumblebee.
I do love a happy accident. I didn't deliberately try and line up the stripes, but how perfect is that? So this is the 2 back sides, that one, and that's the belly piece. So we're going to sew up the side seams and the shoulder seams next. And I'm going to do that with the lining as well. It's always fun seeing these things come together, and it's always these side and shoulder seams that do that. Assembly was surprisingly easy. I just laid both the fur and the lining right sides together and stitched all the way around the outside edge. Having those armholes in the middle made it much easier for turning than I had anticipated, and immediately I could see that this was going to be stinking cute. It was time for the next fit test, and as always, Missy was happy to comply with lots of treats, and I'm not going to lie, this was just the cutest damn thing ever. I was happy with the fit, so it was time to sort out those armholes, and for that I wanted to use just this fleece fabric. It's non-free, and it was just going to be easier. I stitched this down much in the same way that you would do a bias binding, and it just gave a nice clean edge that didn't detract from the overall fur. And at this point it was onto the Velcro. I did have a moment's hesitation about this because I realised I probably should have attached the top part of the Velcro to the lining before assembling everything together, but the fluffiness is that dense, I was quite confident I could probably rub out the stitch lines and then you wouldn't be able to see it. And as you can see here, I managed to achieve that really well. That stitching just rubbed straight out and you wouldn't even know it was there. For the antennae, I was originally going to use fur offcuts, but I quickly realised the weight was way too much for the little pipe cleaners. So I sort of developed this technique of wrapping wool around the little polystyrene balls and using glue to kind of hold it all together. Did I end up with burns from the hot glue? Why yes I did. But was it worth it? I think so. For the wings, it was a really simple retrofit. I just snipped off the elastic and then hot glued on this clip. I decided I was also going to secure the clip on with some stitching, which was easier said than done. Like, it was really tough, the original sort of wrapping that contains all of the wire and things. But I wanted to make sure this was going to be securely on because hot glue and plastic doesn't really stick together very well, and I kind of knew that she was going to end up bumping into me or other things with these and wanted it to just be a little bit more secure. And with that, we're ready for the montage. Yo, she is so stinking cute. This is an iconic outfit, and so long as I make sure the wings are clipped low enough to the jacket, she can run around in these just fine. This has debuted at its first dog show and was really well received. So much so we had someone from like a beekeeping association ask us if it was okay for her to send a picture of Missy on the beekeeping WhatsApp chat. And I don't really think there's a higher compliment than that. Overall, super pleased with this project. So until next time, keep frolicking in those daffodils. Cheerio!